though it felt like carrying a dead rhino, chatted for a bit to a few other hikers who looked as nervous as I felt about what in the hell was coming next, and then, well, one by one, we all just started walking. The path was busy for a while, families out for the day, a rather arduous climb up a waterfall, then soon enough it all gave way to forest, and I was alone. The first 8 miles aren't the Appalachian Trail, it's the approach trail to get onto the main trail, and I don't know if it's designed like this, but rather cleverly it kicks your ass just enough to make sure if you're not supposed to be out there, you'll know it. My pack was obscenely heavy, hundreds of miles of this, I couldn't imagine another 5. I'd trained a few times a week for the trail for about a month before, walking up the mountain that sits conveniently a few tram stops from my apartment. It was always fun, throwing a few sandwiches and a thermos of coffee into a backpack and leisurely wandering up to the peak. And each time I'd be thinking, man, I am so ready for this Appalachian thing. And I probably would have been if a sandwich and a thermos of coffee and a misguided confidence in my feeble sit-at-a-desk-all-day legs was all I'd be taking along with it. In reality, with long hikes, you have your life on your back, and that changes things enormously. Imagination is limitless. Spinal vertebrae are not.
Yeah.
And within just that first hour on the real trail, I was learning not to write checks with my mouth that my ass couldn't cash. By midday, it got rather warm. The path passed the stream, and I filtered some water from it. Cold and indescribably refreshing, a ritual that had soon become one of my favourite parts of the day, and carried on into the woods. I walked until it started getting dark and stopped at a campsite. 4 or 5 other hikers had already set up for the night. I bimbled about trying to remember how to actually lay a ground sheet and actually put up a tent, hardly failing to notice everyone else seemed to know exactly what they were doing, and finally crawled into my tent and slept better than I have in half a decade. Then I woke, the sun rose, and settled into the rituals I would do every morning for the next while, not least of all making coffee. Having planned the walk for a while, I decided most of my addictions could go. I could give up the occasional Sunday cigarette, the weekday beers too, but if you can't have a cup of coffee in the morning, what really is the point in being alive? Exactly. There simply fucking isn't one. As a general rule, I thrive on clutter and chaos, but even I, that first morning and all the mornings that followed,